Hello everybody. This lesson video is all about paper sculpture techniques, and there's a bunch of them I'm going to cover in this lesson video, so it might be a little long. We're going to talk about looping, fringe, curling paper, making tabs, how to make a spiral, roll, and cut on the fold. So let me take my little signs here, and the first one we're going to do is loop. How do we loop the paper? And looping is pretty easy, so I'm going to just, I got glue all over my scissors. So here's a piece of paper, and if I want to make a loop, I'm going to put some glue at one end. My glue got a little dried out because I left the cap off. So we'll see how it works. So there's the glue, and I just bring it up to meet the paper, and there's a loop. So you do have to kind of hold it here for a few minutes to let the glue work. You can always use like a paper clip to keep it there if you want to move on to other things, but there is the loop. Okay. Our next one is fringe. How do we fringe the paper? So I'm going to take the paper and I'm just going to make little, I should probably get a different pair of scissors. These have glue on them. Alright, we'll set those out of the way. So you're just going to cut this really close together. And this is fringe. Hi. Pretty easy, and then you can just bring your fingers back and forth over it to kind of make that fringe go any which way. Alright, so now we've done fringe. Okay, let's talk about curling paper, and that's a lot of fun to do. So maybe you'll have a strip of paper. I'm just going to cut this one a little bit shorter, and a very easy way to curl the paper is to just take your pencil and carefully wrap it around, and when it's all nice and tight, then you just let it go and you've got that nice curl. Now if you want to glue it down somewhere, you can, and you can't really see it in my picture here, but you can put glue down here and use that. See, my loop kind of blew apart, so if I had a paper clip, that would happen. Wouldn't happen. Alright, so there's the curl. There's another way to do a curl, and I'm going to show you again on a skinny piece of paper like this, so just like that. And this time I'm going to take the side of my scissors. Now this side's this way to curl paper is a little tricky because it can easily go wrong because construction paper can pull apart. But you can see as I rub the side of the scissors against it, it curls it. But it's also very easy to rip the paper that way. So that's just a second way. I'm going to continue with curling because I'm going to go back to that fringe paper. You can always take your pencil and wrap it around here. Now if you have something skinnier than a pencil, that's going to make a tighter curl. So you can do something like that as well. Alright, so there's curling. Alright, let's talk about tab. Tabs are really fun. This is an example of a tab. I like that because you put glue on the bottom of these and you can turn it and you can actually put a curve to the paper that way. So let me show you how I did it. One way is, this is the way that I kind of like. I just fold the paper a little bit. That fold line gives me a guide as to where I have to cut to. And what I'm doing is just cutting like this rectangle shape all the way down. Okay, just on one side. You could even use the tab like that, but I'm going to fold this one this way, then that. You just alternate the fold. So now you have this tab to glue down, glue in a curve. It's a great way to bend and fold paper. Alright, the spiral. I love spirals, and a lot of times when people try them out, Oh, well, I'll show you what happens. So here's my paper. I'm first going to cut something roundish, and it doesn't have to be perfectly round. You can see I'm going quick. Now I'm going to start here, and just like I'm going to make the spiral. And notice how thick I'm doing that. And there's a reason, and you'll see that reason in just a minute. Okay, so there. Now I'm going to go backwards down the middle of that spiral. That's why I made it thick, because now I'm cutting right in the middle. So doing the spiral like this, you're going to end up with two. So keep going. Almost done. There. So now I have two spirals. I love those. All right, put those aside. Let's do cut on fold. And what I mean by that is this. This is cut on the fold. And the only thing you need to know here is the difference between the fold side, this is the fold side, and the open side. So on the fold side is where you would draw or just cut your shapes. So maybe I'll just cut any old shape. See how I'm making a rectangle here, and maybe something kind of ovally. All right, so I've cut on the fold, and when I open it, then I have those empty spaces there. All right, so cut on fold. What's next? Rolling your paper. Okay, so you're going to be making a tube out of your paper, and that's kind of like when we did the loop. You have to have, I would suggest having a paper clip or something handy, because your glue needs time to dry. And like I said earlier, my glue, I kind of ruined it a little bit. Well, now it's working, right? So I'm going to roll that, and I put that on the glue. And this is the part that needs time to dry. So if I had paper clips in my video, I'd put one here and one here, because that helps to hold that in place so my glue has a chance to dry. So now you have this tube that you could be using in a sculpture. Now, one of the fun things about using a tube is you can make a slit. Let me see if I can do that. Now I'm just going to flatten that a bit. So now I've made a slit, and I could take another piece of paper and put it into the slit to stand up. Now that slit is kind of shallow. Maybe I'd have to cut it a little bit deeper. It did stick well though, like that. Okay, so now I have something like that. Or you might want to make a slot. This would be a slit. A slot would be a little bit thicker. So there you have some paper techniques to use in a paper sculpture.